I cannot believe this. I can't believe this. Wow. So all the time we share this information about real estate space, the investing, renting a place, and we leave out some of the most basic things because we feel that this is basic. Everyone should know it. Only to find that people actually want it to be spelled out to them. They need to be told, they need to be taught everything. Wow, guys, I am so angry. I am so mad. I am so confused. I am so bamboozled by what I've just experienced. And I thought I'll share with you just today. Hello, friends, everyone that is joining us for the first time. My name is Lindomnisi. I'm a real estate investor. I invest in real estate in the township. And welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so that we rank the video higher for the algorithm of YouTube so that other people can see it, because they definitely need to see it. So let me share a story with you. So in December, we had an apartment that was vacant. A lease from the previous tenant ended, and we were getting a tenant to sign in a new lease, right? So the new tenant comes through. He likes the place, loves the place. He wants to move in, obviously, at the end of December when the other tenant moves out. At the end of December, meaning he would be paying rent for January, for January and continue with his lease. He says to me, he's going to pay, he's going to take the place. So in my understanding, he's going to take the place. Okay, that's good. So I tell him that you need to pay the rent and the deposit. He says, okay, that's fine. And then he keeps quiet. Now I follow up with him. I'm like, you haven't paid the rent. You need to pay the rent. That's before even January. You haven't paid the rent. I need to be assured that you are taking the place, because if I just keep quiet and at the last minute you change your mind, then we're gonna have a problem. So you need to pay the rent, because you've now even signed the lease. So you need to now pay the money, and then we take it from there. It's like, okay, cool. So when I pay now, I pay for January. I'm like, yes, you pay for January because you need to pay for January. He's like, okay, cool. He transfers the rent money, pays the money, and then together with the lease now signed, everything is fine. Then he stays for January, stays in January. Now at the end of January, which is now, he has stayed the month of January. Now when he has to pay for February, he sends the money for deposit. So in January, when he paid in December for January, he didn't pay the deposit because he said, no, this time I don't have it. And I was lenient with him because I understood that, okay, he doesn't have it now, but he's committing that he's going to pay it at the end of January. So I'm like, okay, let me be understanding. But you need to know, here's a lesson for you. Make sure that people pay the deposit and the rent. So don't give them the space to arrange for the deposit to be paid at a later stage or whatever. Make sure that people pay the rent and the deposit before they move in. Now, let me continue with the story. So he has paid the rent for January. He hasn't paid the deposit, the holding deposit that is refundable to him when he moves out or at the end of the lease. At the end of January, he now tells me that, oh no, when I paid in December, like in January, at the beginning of January, when I paid, I wasn't supposed to pay then because I had not stayed in the place. I was only supposed to pay after staying. So I pay rent after staying. So I leave, it's like a salary. You work, and at the end of the work, you get paid. So when I paid the rent in January, I was not supposed to pay it. I was supposed to pay at the end of January. So that 4,000 that I paid in end of December, I was supposed to pay it in January. Therefore, that is what covers my rent now. So I am not paying rent now. All I'm paying now is the 2,000 rent for deposit. What? Yeah, in my understanding, now I do not have to pay. I will pay for February at the end of February. I will pay for March at the end of March. It's like a salary. I'm like, Dude, that is not how it works anywhere. You pay rent in advance. You pay for the month ahead. You don't pay at the end of the month like it's a salary. You pay for the month ahead. It's like, no, I've done my research. This is how it works in my previous place where I used to stay. I was paying at the end of the month. I'm like, that is not true. It cannot be true. There is no landlord that would allow for a tenant to live in their place without paying rent, only to hope that on the last day of the month they will pay the rent for the month they have stayed. He says he has done his research. He knows what he's talking about. You pay rent after staying. It's like a salary. It's like at work. You do the work, and at the end of the month, you get paid. I am so shocked. I have never come across this. I have never come across this. Even on the, so this is the apartment side of our business. On the apartment side, we've got back rooms, people who pay from as little as 1,000 rand. The people that have been, who are paying 1,000 rand or so, have never said something like this. They know that you pay rent in advance for the month ahead. I am so shocked. I am so angry, and I need the rent to be paid. So if you are somebody who's looking for a place, just know this. You pay rent for the month ahead, and you pay the deposit for the landlord to invest it for you. In fact, they save it for you in a interest-bearing savings account for your benefit as the tenant. So you must pay the deposit. You must pay the rent in advance before you live in the place. This is a shocking story for me, and I thought I should share with you. Someone will obviously learn something, because it turns out people want to learn everything. We need to feed people the information, including the most basics, the most common sense of information, like paying rent. Pay your rent in advance when you move in. You don't pay it like a salary that you stay and then you pay. The danger of that is that someone will come and say they pay at the end of their stay. At the end of their stay, just before, a day before they have to pay, they move out. And now, as a landlord, you are left with a situation where you need to pay your bond. And you don't have the money to pay the bond because that is an investment property. So you cannot play games with your investment property. Make sure you take the rent, you take the deposit in advance before the tenant moves in. I hope that helps somebody. I thought, when we leave out this information, I thought people know that they have to pay rent in advance when they move in. They don't pay it like a salary. But turns out people want to be told in advance that you actually pay in advance for the month ahead. Jeez. Cheers, guys.